Hello and welcome back to the Bright Light Wellness YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a homeopathic remedy. I have a couple different YouTube videos on homeopathic remedies. So you can scroll back and look in my, I have it grouped into different, I guess, categories, right? Like circadian biology, and then there's a tab for homeopathy, and then there's a tab for the Quantum Health Connection podcast. So if you go to the playlist, I think it's what it's called, playlist on homeopathy, you'll see I've done some other like what we call material medicas on different remedies. So I'm explaining to you, and you can learn about different remedies. I can't remember which ones I've done, but you can go back and take a look. And I think I've done sepia, pulsatilla, calcarb, phos, sulfur, like the more of the polycrest main ones. And I'm going to try to keep doing these, for you guys so you can learn homeopathy a little bit and about different remedies and a little bit about that person and what that constitution of that specific remedy would be like. Because remember, homeopathy works on this like cures like premises. So whatever it can cause, it can cure, right? In the sick person. Whatever it causes in the healthy person, it cures in the sick, basically. So today we're going to talk about Carbonicum, a very interesting remedy. I have some notes here. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking down at some notes of some things I want to share with you about the remedy. But it's a very deep acting remedy, and a lot of remedies are. So we want to give it time to act, like let it work in the body before switching remedies. But it's a great remedy for things like arthritis, respiratory issues, asthma, peptic ulcers, and things like that. Carbonicum is a very like rigid personality. They like really are very ethical and they follow the rules. Like they don't really express their feelings, they really exercise a lot of control over their emotions. Like they're like very controlled. They're not expressing their feelings, they're not expressing their emotions, and they're rigid and they're going to always do the right thing. They're like, if the person go to the store and the person accidentally gives them the wrong change and they get more than they should have, they're going to make sure they go back. Or if they didn't pay for something at the food store by accident, they're going to go back, or, they're never going to not leave the grocery cart, on the side. They're going to put it back where it belongs. Like, they're very ethical, they're very moral, very rigid, gotta be like very rigid in their daily lifestyle and practices. And they don't express their feelings. They hold it all inside. They are very black and white thinkers. This is right, this is wrong. There's no in between, right? So they're kind of like more stoic. He doesn't really he doesn't understand his situation is severe, or this constitution doesn't understand their situation is severe or upsetting. So he doesn't complain about the situation until it's severe, I should say. That's what it is. This person would not complain about the situation until it gets to a pretty severe state. So they're going to deal with things and not kind of bother you, or until they're in this pretty severe chronic situation, right? So they don't like things to be out of their control. That's very upsetting to them. So when things are not in their control and they can't control it, they don't like that at all. Yeah, they may have fear of the dark, fear of ghosts, fear of future, fear of diseases, especially. It doesn't usually progress to depression or confusion and deeper mental states. It's more to the physical body, but they may have things like a lot of anxiety and worry and fear of losing control. So they don't like change. They're very dogmatic. They have fear of their diseases. They don't like to be alone. They don't like the dark. They have a lot of anxiety and worry. And they feel all of this kind of in their solar plexus. All this anxiety and worry is kind of felt in that solar plexus area. Yeah, they startle easy from noises. They can be irritable, quarrelsome. They, can talk to themselves. They can be grumpy. They worry about, money. They fear poverty as well, kind of like Bryonia. They're not passionate or exciting. They're kind of like more structured and routine kind of people. Chilly, worse from cold, and aggravated by drafts. They are generally worse after intercourse as well. They don't feel as well. They're worse from 2 2 to 4 a.m. So they're worse in that middle of the nighttime. So whether they have more pains or more, arthritic pains, more respiratory issues, more ulcer pains, things like that. They can have stitching pains, and they can have chills about 4 to 5 p.m. They're kind of like conservative dressers, kind of have a stout or obese appearance. They're kind of like sit rigidly, maybe when they talk with you. They may stay in a relationship even if they don't really like that relationship. They're kind of like the people who make sure like things get done, like the train runs on time. But doesn't really like enjoy it and just keeps going and doing it even though they're unhappy with what they're doing, if that makes sense, right? Like they just keep going, like does what he's told, doesn't think about it, very much a rule follower. They hold everything in, like I mentioned before, so they keep all their emotions inside. They're very stoic with it. They're not really expressing it. They're afraid of losing control. I mentioned that already. They don't like failure at all. Let's see, another couple of things that they do. They have swelling on the eyelids, the upper or lower. They can have tinnitus, like a ringing in the ear. They can have hair falling out from the eyebrows, headaches, especially sinus headaches. We don't need to talk about that. They desire sweets for sure. They can have like dread or nausea. Felt in like that solar plexus in that stomach area, peptic ulcers, gastritis. They can have constipation, especially as a woman before their menstruation. There can be vomiting or gagging with coughing, stomach pains from cold drinks or overheating. They're very much like a colicky patient, like undigested food, bad pain. They're better with bending forward and better with heat. It's a very good remedy for, say, like bloating, gas, definitely like a liver remedy, kind of like lycopodium. It works on the gallbladder as well. In the women's area, there can be like fibroids and tumors, kidney stones as well for men, with stitching pains, prostatitis. Women can have menses that are acrid or delayed menses or absent menses. Menses pain, they don't like tight clothing in that area. They can have like labor-like pains. Again, the asthma worse from 2 to 4 or 3 a.m. is a clear keynote of this remedy. Their asthma will be worse lying flat, better sitting up, better bent forward, elbows on the knees. They can have like congestive heart failure, stitching pains, wandering in the chest, palpitations with flush heat. They can have swelling of the breast for women. The cough is also worse at night, 2 to 4 a.m., and worse in the morning on waking. They can get pneumonia mostly on the left side, but also pneumonia in children with like sharp shooting pains. They don't want to eat, drink, or sleep. So it's a really good respiratory remedy. They can have a lot of wandering joint pain as well, like low back pain, sciatica, especially on the right side. Pain drives him out of bed. They're worse menses if you're a woman, but worse sitting, worse walking, better pressure. They can have the curvature of the spine. Their joint pain is worse cold, damp weather. They can have sensitive soles of the feet, so they don't really like walking on things. It's kind of like metarinum. So they wake at night between 2 to 4 a.m. Again, that's a big keynote of an aggravation time. They wake after 4 hours of sleep, so they sleep good. They start without sleeping good, and then they wake up and they can't sleep. Sleeplessness cause of like simply just can't let go. And they can have burning pains, hormonal balances, gut pain, arthritis pain. The women can have swollen breasts, very much a hormonal remedy, fear of being alone, yet don't really like people, wants people in the house, but they also want space. Like that's very like a podium also. Chilly, very chilly, but doesn't like the cold, doesn't like drafts, puts on a brave face, keeps going in routines, does jobs that they don't like they just keep doing what they're doing, whether they're not really expressing it, they're just doing what they're doing to just move through life. So really important remedy, I think, in this time of the culture that we live in. A lot of people are doing that. They're very rigid. They have black and white thinking. They're just doing what they need to do, like just to get through the day. They're just like pushing on. They're not expressing their emotions. They're having a lot of A lot of people don't sleep well and they're waking up at that time. If you're waking up, that's a keynote, waking up at 2 to 4 a.m. with respiratory issues, or, not being able to let go, or having anxiety, having worry, having joint pain at that time, all of that would be huge, huge indications for this remedy. So yeah, it's pretty interesting one. That's Kali Carbonicum. Now remember, I'm just teaching you about this remedy, and if it really resonates, you can always give it a try in a low potency. But if you have something chronic that you're dealing with, okay, that means that's been going on for a long time, you should really seek the expertise of a homeopath like myself to support you on this journey, to make sure that you're getting the right remedy, because we can resonate with a lot of remedies. I read this remedy, I'm like, ooh, this might be a good remedy for me that I've never taken, because we can resonate with so many remedies, because we have a lot of layers. Okay, in homeopathy, we call those layers. They're like an onion, right? So we can have many, many, many different layers. And many different constitutions. There's not just one constitutional remedy for every person. There's many constitutional remedies. So we can have a lot of different constitutional remedies. But the important thing is we need to get to the outer layer. So the outer remedy needed, because if we're going to one of the inner remedies of the inner part of the onion, we're just going to be butting up against the outer layer, and we're not going to be actually making any traction. So it's really important we get to the outer layer, and a good homeopath can help do that by figuring out what symptoms are the most predominant and what's going on right now, and knowing a lot more materia medica, and being able to really differentiate which remedy do you need in this current time and space in your life. So I would always recommend that you meet with a classically trained homeopath to support that. And I always recommend one remedy at a time, so the immune system is not confused, and we can really just hone in on how that remedy is acting, and how that remedy is supporting or not supporting, and if it's the right remedy, the wrong remedy. I always recommend one remedy at a time. I think it's the best way to go. So I hope this is helpful and teaches you a little bit about the remedy Kali Carbonicum. I like doing these videos because I learned a few more things about it. So supportive to me too. And it's a great remedy. And I've actually seen it help people with different pains in their body, for sure. And different digestive issues, anxiety, sleeplessness, especially that 2 to 4 a.m. aggravation. That's a keynote. So I hope this is helpful. Have an incredible day. And if you need support or you have any questions, you can reach me at contact@brightlightwellnesscoach.com. That's my email. You can also leave a comment here below. Tell me what you want to know more about, especially with homeopathy. Is there a remedy you want to learn more about? Is there a condition that you want to learn more about? I also have my homeopathy webinars and courses, which you can check out, which are linked below. They will teach you how to support acute conditions like influenza, which is a great thing to do right now in this winter season. So influenza, ear infections, bladder, kidney infections, and also like first aid care as well. So you can grab some of those acute courses if you want to learn more as well, or just, subscribe to this YouTube channel and start watching and listening and learning, and learning a little bit more about homeopathy. Grab my free homeopathy guide as well. That's another thing to do. So you can learn a little bit more about, how to build a home remedy kit. And of course, if you're ready, you can book in a session with me. If you're dealing with something chronic, you want to book in an initial in-depth session. If you're dealing with something acute that you need support with, you can book in an acute session, and I can help you with something, say, like you get a flu or you get a bladder infection and you need support. Instead of treating with allopathic medicine, you can come see me and we can support it with homeopathy. So I hope that that's helpful, and thank you for listening and tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you on the next video. Have a great day.